Hey, what's up, guys? Riff here. So today we're going to be once again talking about Hasan Piker. Now, I think most people watching this video are aware of the unhinged takes he's had over the past couple of years. However, over the past week or two, we've seen an increasing level of desperation and really just frustration from this man because his ego has been attacked thanks to two events really at large here, and those two events being his appearance on the Trash Taste podcast, where he was met with a bombardment of dislikes and negative comments, and the other event being his dethronement as the top political streamer on Twitch by Asmongold, a title that only Hasan cares about, by the way. But today we're going to be looking at some of his more recent unhinged takes and how he is doubling and tripling down on these comments and also attacking other popular content creators as a result. And also, we have to start this by basically setting up two camps of people who talk about Hasan Piker, right? You have the sycophants and the glazers versus what I think are the normal people who hear some of the comments he's made and they're just disgusted by what they're seeing. Now, that's very evident by some of the reactions on social media we've seen over the past 2 weeks. On the one hand, you have glazers like Slates here making an entire article talking about Hasan, saying this: "Who's afraid of Hasan Piker? He's hot. He's dangerous. Young men actually listen to him. Is he what Democrats are looking for?" Well, if I was a Democrat and this is the answer to all the problems, I'd be very, very nervous right now. But the other camp, the normal people, are reacting to some of the dredged up clips that he's been responsible for over the past couple of years, and they're quite disgusted, not surprisingly. So on TikTok, some people have been sharing a particular clip of Hasan where people are saying this with 36,000 likes when Hasan says it's okay to R-word white women. Now, everyone who defends Hasan will be like, well, out of context. Well, here's the context in case you're curious.
They were at least Patrick Henry College is like doing one good thing, which is that like if you have these fucking millionaire, billionaire, wasp fail sons, at least taking them out of other colleges so they can only do date rape to other billionaire, millionaire failed daughters is like, in some respects, you know, from a utilitarian perspective, of course, a little bit better. You know what I mean? Like,
that's great. So he's min-maxing the R-wording of women. That's great. What a great guy. I'm glad apparently so many people are listening to him. But the most recent comment that's been getting a lot of attention is this clip right here. It's a very simple one. We talked about it a few days ago, but let's remind ourselves of what we're dealing with here.
There's about $50 billion estimated that are lost every year in Medicaid, just in fraud alone. No.
if you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott.
So he's saying that to a sitting U.S. official right here, which for anyone else, that would get a knock on your door from the FBI and also would get you permanently banned on Twitch. But for him, he's still going, and obviously, I think at this point we all know he's not going to get banned for anything at this point. He can say whatever he wants. Twitch is so far up his ass, they're never going to do anything about him, and it's very clear. But a lot of people have been responding, including Asmongold, because pretty much anything that happens with Hasan involves Asmongold, because basically Hasan can't go 2 seconds without mentioning the man. Everything he does somehow has some link to Asmongold, so I think it's very fair that he's reacting to the situation. And let's hear what he had to say about this particular clip that we just watched.
The reason why I'm saying if you cared about Medicare or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott is because, and not make him a prominent part of the Republican Party, is because he, to this day, is still...
He repeats it.
Also known as committing the largest Medicare fraud in U.S. history.
Oh, God. What are we doing?
So everyone always says in these situations, especially involving Hasan, they're like, oh, you're climp-shimping, right? You're like, you're taking these things out of context. That is the full context, by the way, which actually makes it worse. And here's some further reaction from Asmongold on that same clip.
Advocating to kill an elected representative of the government is not good.
Shocking.
No matter what.
Hot take.
Right? I mean, there's no other perspective to have.
Nope.
It doesn't matter what the perspective is. Like, you can't say that. It's insane.
Fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott. Okay? You wouldn't make Rick Scott former governor.
That's crazy.
It's absolutely crazy. Ask any person on the street, 90+% of them would say this is completely unhinged, that you would say comments like this about a sitting U.S. official. But, of course, Hasan has a response to all this, including some responses that Asmongold we'll get into in a little bit later. But let's start with this right here, because this is actually insane.
New Meta is trying to get you banned for being mean to Rick Scott. I wasn't even like being directly mean to Rick Scott. What I was saying was like, if the Republican Party truly cared about like monitoring medical bankruptcy, they would literally apply the capital punishment. Like if they did, they don't. And I mean, he is a world-class Medicare fraud guy. So you can cry about it all day, every day. You can cry about it, try to get me banned for it. Maybe I will get banned for it. Who knows?
You won't.
But it's not going to change the dynamic or the reality. Not going to change what's
What is
going
bro
on.
talking about?
Same people crying about free speech in the UK. Yeah.
Okay, that's not the same thing. Talking about free speech in the UK, like people are getting jailed and fined over memes and criticizing the government. They're not getting jailed and fined over threatening or advocating for violence against officials in their country. It's completely different. This is such a ridiculous comparison.
I can't believe we're being mean to billionaire Voldemort Rick Scott, who is responsible for the deaths of thousands. And
Okay, so this is like the most childish interpretation of TOS with Twitch, or really just in general, where basically you think, oh, well, the person I'm talking about is someone I think is a bad person. Therefore, I can say anything I want about this individual with no consequence. And if I get punished, well, that's something wrong. Well, that's not how TOS works, and it's a very juvenile understanding of how it works. So let me give you a counterpoint here. So let's talk about someone that a lot of people don't like, I don't know, terrorists. Terrorists that Hasan Piker has glazed over, including Houthi pirates that he's interviewed and glazed over, including a Houthi pirate that he compared to a modern-day Anne Frank, okay? People who are attacking unarmed civilians, somehow being glazed up live on Twitch. So if I talked about people like that and said these same comments that he made about Rick Scott, I think a lot of people would agree or not feel too badly about those comments. However, I'd get banned on Twitch, and rightfully so, because I'm advocating for violence against someone else. That's against TOS. So the fact that you think just, oh, because this person's bad in my eyes, I can say whatever I want. Well, you probably think Donald Trump is bad. Are you going to say those same things? You're going to advocate for violence against him? Because of that, I would love to see Hasan try that. He probably will, and he won't get banned. But anyways, that's beside the point, right? Overall, just a very shallow and childish view of Twitch's terms of service. Just basically to justify this unhinged behavior.
also did the largest. Him and X were crying about it. Yeah, they can suck my entire dick from the back. That's what I think.
Well, he says Asmongold and XQC can suck his D from the back based on their criticism of his comments. Well, unfortunately for Hasan, there's no room because that position behind him has been taken up by Dan Clancy. Dan Clancy is nose deep in this dude right now, so there's no room for those people to do this weird request, I guess, that he's going after here. But yeah, really rich coming from him.
Okay. Asman said directly that Israel sucks, which is good to hear from him. Oh man, great.
Easy to please, dude. That's all it takes, right?
Yeah. Dude. Rick Scott oversaw the largest Medicare fraud in the nation's history.
Again, that doesn't change TOS, dude.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Defend that, Asmongold.
And defend that, Asmongold. He doesn't have to defend anything, dude. Like, you're the one making calls for violence against sitting U.S. officials. Like, this is your battle to deal with, man. These are the potential consequences of your own unhinged comments. But Asmongold would also bring up a good point about this whole situation involving Hasan and really just the platform itself, Twitch, right? Where they're dealing with a major crisis, right? They're dealing with an adpocalypse, and I think everyone can agree the main culprit of this entire situation is Hasan. He's making insane claims. He's sharing terrorist propaganda. He's platforming terrorists. He's saying these unhinged, disgusting things, and advertisers are pulling out. You even have reactions from U.S. officials about some of the things he's saying and how Twitch is basically defending him and shielding him from any sort of punishment. And it's causing some big trickle-down effect on the entire platform. He talks about people like Rick Scott hurting all these people. Now, this is not a one-to-one comparison, but if you want to talk about like harming people, Hasan has literally caused so many advertisers to leave. People are having their livelihoods affected on Twitch. People who are doing this for a living are receiving less ad revenue, receiving less payment because of his selfish and ridiculous behavior, and also the incompetence of Dan Clancy and all of the people at Twitch who refuse to do anything about him. So talking about this sort of harm amongst other people, well, I think the response is, well, you're doing kind of the same on a different scale, of course. But yeah, it's happening there too. But let's hear what Asmongold had to say about some of the stuff we've been talking about.
I'm kind of shocked that this is happening. And I also want to say that this rise in extremism and this rise in extremist rhetoric will eventually be very, very damaging for Twitch.
Of course.
Because eventually somebody will say something, will this be the time? It probably won't be the time. But eventually somebody will say something and it's going to get mainstream attention to a degree that
As
it's
it
going
should.
to damage Twitch on a massive level. Because this type of language and rhetoric is extremely distasteful.
If you're someone on Twitch, if you really care about your account and that platform, you should be absolutely disgusted by this behavior because it's hurting you. It's hurting the entire platform, and Twitch is sitting there and just allowing this shit to keep happening over and over again.
And I think that average people see this and they find it abhorrent.
Yeah.
And the fact is that if you keep saying stuff like this and you keep doing this, you will eventually, in my opinion, like if I was Amazon and I found out this was happening, I would fire everybody at leadership at Twitch.
Absolutely. And the other thing too is with Twitch, they are a loss for Amazon. They are on life support, right? They are begging and hoping that Amazon keeps them going because at this point, Twitch has not turned a profit. Believe that. Isn't that crazy? After making billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars, mainly due to their terrible infrastructure, Twitch is still not turning a profit. They are basically on life support from Amazon. If Amazon was halfway serious, they would pull the plug on this nonsense, right? They're giving the Twitch Primes, they're doing all this stuff that are helping out Twitch. Imagine if they actually took this stuff seriously. Imagine if they actually pulled the plug on this. It'd be an absolute disaster. And I wouldn't be surprised if they do something like that, if they actually took this situation seriously.
I would. Because the fact is that the people who are leadership at Twitch have allowed this to happen. And
Yep.
they've allowed it to happen for a long time. It's not like this is just the first time it's happened. There's a pattern of behavior here. And I think that Twitch really needs to look at reining this kind of stuff in.
I mean, you literally have the CEO of Twitch, Dan Clancy, coming out and singing happy birthday to Hasan just last year. Like, it's absolutely insane. He's fully aware of everything going on with Hasan and all these controversies, and he just doesn't care because he's glazing this dude up. It's insane.
Like, I've said things that were out of pocket before. One of them I said I did get reined in for. And so I don't think anybody should get permabanned for any of this in a lot of cases, but there need to be suspensions for openly calling for violence.
Hot take, apparently, in the year 2025. Calling for violence, especially political violence, is somehow something that it's a hot take to say someone should face consequences for on a platform. Like, it's crazy. The fact that, for example, Asmongold got a 2-week suspension for his comments about Israel and Palestine, and yet Hasan, with the endless list of things he said, and also his goons who have also said crazy out-of-pocket stuff, they face nothing for all of this. Like, again, I'm beating a dead horse here, but the comments about Rick Scott in particular, you say that as anyone other than Hasan, you are banned within 24 hours, probably within the hour, right? And it might be a permanent ban. And somehow, The dude's untouched. And he was talking about like, oh, well, I might get banned. No, he's not going to get banned. At this point, there's nothing he could do that would get him banned because Twitch has made it very clear where they stand on this dude. And what I find the most hilarious is the absolute echo chamber this guy exists in. He is very, very confused as to why there's no positive coverage on live stream fails. Why would you think anyone's covering you positively when you're saying the most unhinged stuff? Let's listen to this.
They can be like, oh, I hope that nobody says anything positive about Hasan. You know what I mean? That's like... That's the one way that they can like try to control the narrative, to be like, oh, please don't say anything positive about Hasan. Because there was a couple instances where I like said some shit about Asmongold, and because they fucking hate Asmongold even more than they hate me, you know, every now and then a post goes live on there and they just can't like cut it before you know it pops off. But oh, the mods did an AMA yesterday, and they're getting destroyed by Epstein questions. Oh yeah, I'm sure the mod team consisting almost exclusively of people who that same head mod added in September after removing everyone else's shining light on checks and balances. Yeah, Gisophus used to be a mod. I know. He used to be a mod at LSF. They fucking kicked him out. And now the head mod has entirely changed the fucking team to be Destiny Dick Riders.
I mean, you probably noticed the theme if you've been paying attention. He blames everything on Destiny. Like, everything that's happening to him or any, like, negative response to him is because of Destiny. Like, for example, personally, I don't give a shit about Destiny, right? We're talking about what he has said over and over again. These unhinged comments, and it has nothing to do with Destiny. Who gives a shit about Destiny, right? But anyways, that's the situation. Very messy, all over the place, but that's kind of how it happens with this sort of drama involving content creators. But anyways, as always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoy the video, and I'll see you next time.